Chapter 24. These are the groups to which the descendants of Aaron belonged. Aaron was the father of 4 sons, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. Nadab and Abihu died before their father. They left no sons, and therefore their brothers Eleazar and Ithamar became priests. King David organized the descendants of Aaron according to their duties. He was helped in this work by Zadok, who was a descendant of Eleazar, and by Ahimelech, who was a descendant of Ithamar. The descendants of Eleazar were divided into 16 groups, and the descendants of Ithamar were divided into 8. This was done because among the descendants of Eleazar, there was a greater number of heads of families. Since there were temple officials and spiritual leaders, both among the descendants of Eleazar and among those of Ithamar, they were divided by lot. The descendants of Eleazar and of Ithamar were drawn alternately, and their names were written in a book by the scribe Shemaiah, son of Nethanel. Witnesses were the king, his officials, the priest Zadok, Ahimelech, son of Abiathar, and the heads of the families of priests and of the families of Levites. After the lot was drawn, the 24 groups received their turns in the following order: Jehorabeb, Jediah, Haram, Suoram, Malchijah. The names of these men were written in a book, according to their turns to enter the temple, and to perform the duties according to the rules left by Aaron, their ancestor, as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded him. These are the other heads of families of the descendants of Levi: Shubal, descendant of Amram, through Shabul; Ishiah, descendant of Rehabiah; Jothir, descendant of Izhar, through Shelemith; Jeriah, Amariah, Jahaziel, and Jechomim, sons of Hebron, in order of age; Chamir, descendant of Uzziel, through Micah; Zechariah, descendant of Uzziel, through Ushiah, brother of Micah; Mali, Mushiah, descendants of Merari. Yaziah was the father of 3 sons, Shohem, Zechar, and Ibri. Mali was the father of 2 sons, Eleazar and Kish. Eleazar left no sons, but Kish was the father of a son named Jeremiel. Mushi was the father of 3 sons, Mali, Edor, and Jeremoth. These were the families of the Levites. The head of each family and one of his younger brothers cast lots to be assigned, just as their relatives, the priests, the descendants of Aaron, had done. Witnesses were King David, Zadok, Ahimelech, and the heads of families of priests and of Levites. Chapter 25. King David and the leaders of the Levites chose the following groups of families of Levites to lead the worship services: Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun. They were to proclaim the messages of God accompanied by music of harps, lyres, and cymbals. This is the list of the men chosen for this service. The 4 sons of Asaph: Zechar, Joseph, Nethaniah, and Asarela. They were directed by Asaph, who proclaimed the messages of God when the king commanded. The 6 sons of Jeduthun: Gedaliah, Zeri, Jeshaiah, Shimei, Hashabiah, and Mattathiah. Directed by their father, they proclaimed the message of God accompanied by music of lyres. And they sang praises and thanksgivings to God the Lord. The 14 sons of Heman: Bukiah, Mattaniah, Uzziel, Shabul, Jeremoth, Anoniah, Eliathah, Gedalti, Ramantiezer, Joshbekasha, Malathi, Hothir, and Mahaziath. God gave to Heman, the king's prophet, these 14 sons and also 3 daughters, as he had promised, in order to give strength to Heman. All his sons sang in the religious services of the temple, playing cymbals, lyres, and harps. They were directed by their father. Asaph, Jeduthun, and Heman were under the orders of the king. The musicians trained to play instruments and to sing praises to God, the Lord, were 288 in total. To organize the turns of service, they all cast lots, both the young and the old, the trained and the beginners. These 288 men were divided according to their families into 24 groups of 12, each group with a chief. This is the order of their service turns: Joseph of the family of Asaph, Hanani, Malatha, Eliathah, Hothir, Gedalti, Mahaziath, Romantiezer. Chapter 26. The guards of the temple. This is the list of the Levites assigned to work as guards of the temple: Meshalemiah, son of Kori, of the family of Asaph, of the group of families of the Korahites, was father of 7 sons, in order of age: Zechariah, Jediel, Zebediah, Jathniel, Elam, Johanan, and Eliane. Obed-Edom had 8 sons, also in order of age: Shemiah, Jehozabad, Joasacher, Dethanel, Emil, Issachar, and Pulethi. God blessed Obed-Edom, and all these sons were valiant men, outstanding in their family group. The 2 youngest were even stronger than the others. The family of Obed-Edom provided 62 valiant men for service as guards of the temple. The family of Meshelemiah provided 18 valiant men. In the group of families of Merari was Hosa, who had 4 sons. Shimri appointed as chief. Although he was not the eldest, Hilkiah, Tebaliah, and Zechariah. Altogether, 13 members of the family of Hosa were guards of the temple. The guards were divided into groups, according to their families, and received tasks in the service of the temple, like the other Levites. They cast lots among the families, both the greater and the lesser, and so each was assigned to take care of a gate. To Shelemiah fell by lot the east gate. His son Zechariah, a wise man, received the north gate. Obed-Edom was drawn for the south gate, and his sons for the storerooms. Shopim and Hosa received by lot the west gate and the gate of Shalaketh, on the road that ascends. The service was organized in this way. Each day there were 6 guards on the east, 4 on the north, 4 on the south, and 4 for the storerooms, 2 at each. In the courtyard on the east there were 4 guards by the road and 2 inside the courtyard. Thus were distributed the tasks of the guards belonging to the family groups of the Korahites and the Merarites. Other Levites, their brothers, were in charge of the treasury of the temple and of the storerooms that kept the offerings consecrated to God. Among the sons of Ladan, of the family of Gershon, son of Moses, were the chiefs of the treasuries, Jehieli, his brothers, Zetham and Joel. They took care of the storerooms of the temple. Descendants of Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel also received tasks. Shabol, of the group of Gershon, son of Moses, was the chief officer in charge of the treasuries of the temple. He was of the family of the descendants of Eleazar, brother of Gershon. Eleazar was father of Rehabiah, Rehabiah, father of Jeshiah, Jeshiah, father of Joram, Joram, father of Zichri, Kri, father of Shelemith. Mith and his brothers were in charge of all that had been dedicated to the service of the temple. Gifts consecrated by King David by the heads of families, by the military leaders, and by the officers of the army. They were things taken from the enemies in the wars and set apart to be used in the house of the Lord. Shelemith and his family administered all these goods, including the gifts offered by the prophet Samuel, by King Saul, by Abner son of Ner, and by Joab son of Zeruiah of the Izharites. Chenaniah and his sons were responsible for the records and for resolving matters among the people of Israel. Among the Hebronites, there were 1,700 valiant men. They were put in charge of all matters, both disputes and everyday affairs in Israel, west of the Jordan. Guriah was the chief of the Hebronites. In the 40th year of the reign of David, a search was made in the genealogical lists of this family. In Gilead were found courageous men belonging to the Hebronites. Among the relatives of Jeriah, the king chose 2,700 heads of families, valiant men, and put them in charge of all matters, both disputes and daily affairs in the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh, east of the Jordan.